LaMelo Ball is allegedly open to being traded this season. Kenyon Martin has the dumbest take that I have heard in a long time, and Ja Morant and Klay Thompson's beef isn't quite what it seems. All of that and more in Week 5's edition of Rusty Buckets News. For our first story, Ja Morant was injured and on the bench in the Mavs game versus the Grizzlies, and at some point in the night, he decided to let Klay Thompson know how he felt about him.
Had something to say back. And then
John got in there. I didn't see that the first time.
I saw that the first time. And where he comes from, I don't know. You didn't even play tonight. So you should have been in the locker room already.
Points at this type of rate. See a little skirmish here. Second night in a row.
Wow. Yeah, that's how the game ended last night. 60 rebounds tonight from Memphis. 61, it looks like, plus 20 on the glass.
Morant seemed to call Klay a bum, pointing in his face before being separated, and reports even speculated that Ja's crashing of Cam Spencer's post-game interview was a shot at Klay Thompson.
I'm a competitor, man. Yeah, come on now. Let's go, baby. I'm a competitor.
Thompson responded to the media with several quotes.
And then with Ja, he's a funny guy. He has a lot to say all the time, especially for a guy who rarely takes accountability. But you know what? That's for another day.
When asked about what was said by Ja, Klay said nothing of intelligent depth. It was really just running his mouth, and he has been running his mouth for a long time. And it's funny to run your mouth when you're on the bench. It's kind of the story of his career so far. He's just been letting a lot of other stuff get in the way of that. When you're a star, it comes with great responsibility, and I hate to see that go to waste. I think this is a pretty excellent quote from Klay Thompson where he is, yes, still throwing shades, still getting some jabs in there, but he is also displaying his maturity and a disappointment in Ja Morant being the central issue there, which is pretty universal at this point. The thing is with this beef, though, it's not really new. The Grizzlies have hated on the Warriors and lost to them while doing all that hating for a long time now. Klay specifically called out Jaren Jackson for talking trash on Twitter via a subtweet about the Warriors team after beating them in the 22 playoffs.
There's one player on the Grizzlies who tweeted strength in numbers after they beat us in the regular season, and it pissed me off so much. I can't wait to retweet that thing. Freaking bum. I had to watch that. I'm just like, this freaking clown. Okay.
Klay called Jaren a bum then, and Ja is calling Klay a bum now. And the comment to Cam Spencer, it was definitely more likely referring to his brother Pat Spencer, who himself plays for the Golden State Warriors.
Let's go, baby. I'm a competitor.
But in general, this is just another instance of Ja Morant being annoying and extremely, extremely childish. And I really do appreciate what Klay Thompson said there, because maybe it was actually mature enough and introspective enough that Ja Morant could possibly do some introspecting. Klay himself has been having kind of an awful year. He also got teed up when the Heat bench was mocking him, similarly to Ja, and I understand he's got a lot to be upset about, like he signed with a contender led by Luka and is now stuck with an elite defense that can't win. He's having a down year. But for the most part, dude, Ja, just stop. The lack of self-awareness on his part is actually baffling to me. For our next story, the LaMelo Ball trade situation is stupid. Reports came out that LaMelo Ball wants out of Charlotte, and of course he did eventually deny that, quoting it with a clown emoji, and the reporter claims that it was inevitable that he would say exactly that, saying, "I wasn't surprised by it. I knew it was coming. It's the politics of it all. I've been in this game a long time. You understand, star player is frustrated, report comes out, star player denies it, and in the middle of the night, weeks or months down the line when he is traded, no one circles back to it." I am inclined to agree with what the reporter is saying there. That is definitely a very common thing. And yeah, it is a lot of it is the politics of it all. Like, that's something that I have been saying about Giannis for a minute now. Obviously, Giannis has not asked out yet, but historically speaking, there are plenty of instances of players being upset and that gets reported, and then they're like, "No, I'm not upset," and then they still get traded very soon after that anyways. So like, I don't know how much to read into it. Me personally, though, I don't feel like LaMelo should be angry at the Hornets. I feel like the Hornets should be angry at LaMelo. The Hornets have built the best roster around LaMelo that they have had with him thus far in his career. And unfortunately, he just cannot stay on the goddamn basketball court. And in the games that he has played, they have not been that good with him. The Hornets are currently 4-13, and I personally feel like parting ways would be best for both sides here. Now it's time for the panic button. At the top of every show, we get the negative stories out of the way first by asking if anybody needs to press the panic button. First, Denver Nuggets starting power forward Aaron Gordon goes down with an injury that will all but certainly keep him from making his first ever All-Star appearance, forcing him to likely miss multiple months of the season. Gordon was in the middle of a career year, starting off the season by dropping 50 points in an overtime loss to the Golden State Warriors, and even factoring out that anomaly, in the month of November, he was averaging 20 points and 7 boards, shooting 52% from the floor, including 43% from 3 on 5.3 attempts per game. Last season, we saw Aaron Gordon take a leap in his 12th NBA season, having a career-best efficiency season scoring-wise. But this year, at the age of 30, he is outdoing last year's efficiency on even higher volume, getting 18.8 points per game in totality so far on the year, with 53, 44, 87 shooting splits. And his rate of shooting threes is as high as it has ever been at just under 41%. There are so many ways to describe just how awesome Aaron Gordon has been on offense, plus he's basically their best defender. But more importantly, Denver has been winning, going 7-1 in games where he has played before getting hurt, and the only L being a 3-point loss to the Bulls. The Nuggets won the game where he got hurt versus Houston by 3, but proceeded to lose to a downright terrible Sacramento Kings team, and then they failed to dominate a Grizzlies team that is ice cold and had Zach Edey go down with an injury 5 minutes into the game. They only won that by 10 points, and people have been just beating the shit out of the Grizzlies lately. So should the Nuggets hit the panic button? I do think this will hurt their long-term standings implications. Jokic will have to shoulder even more burden on the offensive end. Same goes for Jamal Murray, but maybe that's an opportunity for him to get that all-star spot. But I don't know. I think they'll be fine. I've also seen a lot of really big games from Peyton Watson lately, so maybe he will step up into that role, and developing his game further will be for the better. But it is kind of depressing because Gordon was really killing it this year. And as long as he can pick up where he left off when they get towards the playoffs, I do think he makes Denver substantially deadlier than they already were. Speaking of the Sacramento Kings, with Domantas Sabonis going down, the outlook for the Kings team has somehow gotten even worse. There were talks this week of a potential Sabonis trade, but it's hard to see where he would fit elsewhere. I did a video over on Little Rusty about it, and we found like 2, maybe 3 teams where it kind of makes sense to trade for him. The team had a big win against Denver this week, but their record is overall extremely disappointing, especially considering the level of talent they have on the roster and how committed they are to several high-priced players. They are more talented than their record would indicate. But, I don't know, Domantas Sabonis and DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine, if you would still categorize them as star-level players, are towards the very bottom of the totem pole of star-level players. And now, there are rumors about the Clippers potentially being interested in getting DeMar DeRozan, which, yeah, you know, the one thing about the Clippers, they could really use some veteran presence. They're not old enough. James Harden could use some help keeping OKC from getting another lottery pick from the Paul George trade all those years ago. Like, technically, there's been enough guys who have been out that, like, I can kind of see the idea of doing a DeMar DeRozan trade, but, like, I don't know. Anything they try to do to fix that sinking ship definitely just feels like putting a patch on a hole. Should the Kings hit the panic button? In this case, it's more of a blow it up button, and actually I think they probably should have been panicking the whole time. Yeah, DeMar needs to go. Keon Ellis doesn't need to go, but for his own sake he does. Kings have an argument for being the most garbage franchise in the history of the NBA. It's really fucking embarrassing and depressing. And speaking of the Clippers, Kawhi Leonard had a really strange quote to the media saying that we just got to get the right lineups on the court, I guess. Get some more talent, play with better talent, and see what happens. Maybe I'm just not interpreting what the term talent means, but how do you play with more talent? Like, you have the talent that you have. Like, are you going to develop more talent in the middle of a season? Like, this quote just reads as super weird to me. They're not trading for anybody, and I don't think that's what he meant. You're the talent, bro. You need to be on the court. I just don't get this quote. It's just very weird to me.
You guys have obviously had some unfortunate circumstances. Like you said, you missed time. Brad's been out for the year. But in previous seasons, that hasn't been totally abnormal for this group to have guys in and out, and they've still kind of found ways to stay around 500 or above 500. What do you think is the difference with this group where it's been such a struggle to kind of sustain some of the blows you guys have taken early?
Just got to get the right lineups on the court, I guess. Get some more talent, play with better talent, and see what happens.
You say get more talent. Is that like internally, externally?
I'm saying like playing better. Like we all just got to play better, make shots, move the ball a little bit more, trust one another, and just get better.
James Harden was also acknowledging how odd it is for his team to be losing so much.
How normal does it feel to be going through this?
Very. But, I'm a firm believer. I work my butt off every single day, not only for myself but for my teammates to put them in better positions to be successful. So, and I got more than enough faith in the front office, the coaching staff, and the players to put everything together. So, like I said, it's I haven't been in a losing situation before, but I haven't been in a situation where literally feels like everything is going against us. You know what I mean? So this is going to be a test to show our character and what we can do later.
But let's go ahead and use James Harden to transition into some cool stuff. Our big game segment this week is dedicated to James Harden, who has been the only thing standing between us and a world where the Thunder somehow get another top lottery pick. He and Luka Doncic are the only players this season with multiple 35-plus point and 10-plus assist games. The Clippers are now 5-13 following their primetime loss to the Lakers last night. But Harden still somehow was not good enough to earn Player of the Week. But for Week 5, the NBA season, the Player of the Week goes to SGA and Donovan Mitchell. For some other nominees in the West, you had Santi Aldama, who's been really killing it for the Grizzlies, Luka, De'Aaron Fox, James Harden, and Nikola Jokic. And in the West, Jalen Duren, Josh Giddey, Brandon Ingram, Con Knipple. He's running away with Rookie of the Year, dude. Tyrese Maxey, Norman Powell, and Khalil Ware, Ryan Rollins, and Franz Wagner. It is now time to check in on the standings, the only thing that really matters at the end of the day. At the top of the East, we have the Detroit Pistons, Toronto Raptors, and Miami Heat, who have just been so impressive this year. I don't think almost anybody would have had these teams at the top of their Eastern Conference standings predictions. I personally didn't even have Miami in the playoffs at all. Toronto I had as the 8th seed, Detroit as like a middle of the pack seed, but like between Detroit and Toronto, and like I think all of them are very legit, and it is making me feel a little bit better about the Eastern Conference at large. The teams that I expected to be towards the top, Cleveland, New York, Atlanta, and Orlando, are now towards the bottom of the playoff seeding, but still in it. Orlando has been bouncing back after a really terrible start to the season. Philadelphia and Boston sit just below in the play-in. Milwaukee is not too far off. And then at the bottom of the East, you still have your usual stinkers and the Hornets, Nets, Pacers, and Wizards. In the West, the OKC Thunder just cannot stop winning. They are 17-1. Holy shit. God, are they going to win 80 games, dude? Like, the only loss they have is of the Portland Trailblazers, and it was by 3 points. They don't even have J-Dub. It's nuts. The Los Angeles Lakers have eclipsed the Nuggets as the 2 seed in the West. They're the 2 seeds in the West at 13-4. They are tied with Denver at 13-4. Houston is 11-4. San Antonio 11-5. Phoenix, big surprise this year, keeping up. Minnesota can't beat a good team, but they are still in there. Golden State right there as well. Portland's been disappointing. Memphis has been insanely disappointing. Utah is Utah. The Kings, Clippers, Mavericks, and Pelicans are all in the mud, but that's nothing new. Now it is time for Watch to look at the games that I have watched in the last week, and I'll throw a line or two in there about most of them. Sometimes I don't really remember enough to say anything, but we'll see. I've finally got my Timberwolves numbers up because I had been sitting at 3 games for them for like 2 weeks. Everybody, I have now watched at least 5 games, trying to get that number up to 6. Watched more Bucks games, watched a few more Lakers games. I've watched way too many Jazz games. It's upsetting how many Jazz games I'm watching because I truly do not want to watch this many. Clippers as well, had to check in on that Harden 55 piece. And just for these recent games, Clippers, Celtics, Nets, Wizards, Hornets, Raptors. Raptors game was really fun. I've really enjoyed the Raptors this year. Checked out Pacers versus Pistons. I actually watched Pacers versus Pistons twice this week. I didn't even recognize that. Nets, Celtics, Michael Porter Jr. had a massive game there. I watched the Heat beat the absolute shit out of the Chicago Bulls. Derek Queen versus Cooper Flag game. That was really fun. Pistons versus Bucks. No Giannis, but Jaden Ivey's season debut. Another Lakers Jazz game. Had to watch both of those for the sake of LeBron. And, of course, Clippers versus Lakers again because LeBron is back, and that's the first game that he's been really, really good. Anything else here of note? Timberwolves Suns, crazy ending to that game. Colin Gillespie game winner. Hawks Spurs was kind of whatever. Rockets Cavs was fun. Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking I might just start like adding a note to all of these games so I actually know what to say when I am at this section, because half of the times I do not. But yeah, that has been Watch. I have really enjoyed doing this year because it feels like a game. Like I'm more on top of it than I've ever been before since I'm actually tracking this shit now. As we near the end of the show, we now have to hit you with the rapid fire segment to just cover, well, everything else. If we missed something, let us know in the comments, but here's your rapid fire. The Bust brothers are out as the Lakers front office members, with Jeanie remaining the only Bust family member left within the organization as the franchise continues its transition of ownership, with each Bust sibling receiving a payout of nearly $1 billion following Mark Walters' purchase of the majority stake of the Lakers for $10 billion per Brian Windhorst. A weird beef between Draymond Green and Kenyon Martin has been getting a lot of attention as Kmart names 200 power forwards that are better than Dre in a video this week. Just truly, I get that there's a lot of anger and pettiness following that story. Like, that's a lot of the reason why this is happening. But seriously, please miss me with the shit where people go, oh, the only people whose opinion is valid is former NBA players. Dude, Kevin Martin thinks that Reggie Evans is better than Draymond Green. I think Gilbert Arenas the other day said that Jamal Crawford is better than Manu Ginobili. Like, fuck off. No, the player perspective can be completely warped because they were players, as is the case here. LeBron came back for the Lakers, and they have gone 3-0 since his return, defeating the Utah Jazz twice as well as the Clippers last night. According to Michael Porter Jr., the Nets have asked him to steer clear of certain topics on his podcast. He has made several controversial statements while talking on his podcast and other people's podcasts. The league is handing out a fine to the Cavs for violating the player participation policy on November 12th as they rested both Mobley and Mitchell in that game. Nikola Vucevic calls out his team, says they're soft after a narrow victory against the Washington Wizards, where in his post-game interview he was very grumpy, and in the media availability in the locker room after the fact. Definitely felt for him in that clip because he's got these damn Gen Z ass teammates who are like celebrating barely beating the Wizards. Like, he had every reason to be pissed off, and it was interesting seeing the generational divide there. Zach Edey has returned for the Grizzlies, and he has looked really good so far. In his first 4 games back, he is putting up about 12.5 points on 70% true shooting, with 9 rebounds, 4 of them being offensive. 1.3 steals, 2 blocks, and he is plus 41 in total, playing 25 minutes of action. He's a really useful screener and offensive rebounder. His rim pressure is real. Like, it's very nice for the Grizzlies to have something positive right now. Zach Lowe will be joining the Amazon Prime team for occasional spots on their NBA broadcast. And for the check out the Little Rusty Buckets part of the rapid fire, because I do go in more depth on these stories either today Or earlier on, Chris Paul will be retiring after this season. He's kind of been going out sad, getting coach's decision DNPs. Derek Queen has emerged as a big-time player, making the trade the Pelicans made to acquire him look a lot less bad. I would still say it looks bad, but at least Derek Queen is actually good. It'd be a lot worse if you traded a future first for a player who's not good. The Pistons' win streak continues. They had Cade Cunningham back for the last 2 games, and he picked up right where he left off prior to injury. The Hawks are still so good without Trey. Jalen Johnson and Nickeil Alexander-Walker could star in their own big game segment next week if they keep this up. Like, they've been going kind of wild. But yeah, that is it. We're going to have our plays of the week playing right here. Check out our Patreon if you would like to support this content further. You get access to the Discord, and there will be actually more Patreon content coming around the corner. We're trying to up our game there. There are some pretty big changes coming around the corner to our content strategy in general. Also, check out Cheeky if you want to get some soap, want to smell good, and support the channel. My personal play of the week this week, I think I'm going to go with this pass from LaMelo back to Brandon Miller. I believe the play before it was a block that led to this fast break. So a really, really cool sequence. Maybe not the best play this week, but it was the one that got me to actually jump out of my seat. Because I just love a good throw it back in transition pass exactly like that. Very fun genre of playmaking. Because it's like, well, you're going to the rim. You should just shoot it. But I don't know, you might get chase down blocked. They won't expect you to just throw it behind you. I don't know. It's just fun. I really like that play. Yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.